Here we have a new 2023 Honda Accord. This one comes in the LX trim level in platinum white pearl on black cloth interior. And the powertrain consists of a 192 horsepower, 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, made it to a continuously variable transmission. And this is going to be your base model Accord here. Come around on the front end here. You still get our LED headlamps along with LED daytime running lights, and the lights don't flash like that. That's just how my camera's picking them up. Great styling though. And like I said, I'm glad that we still get mostly the same look as opposed to an EX. Have that gloss black grille. And coming around to the wheels here, I believe these are going to be 17-inch aluminum. Still a good look for the base model again. And then this one has optional tinted windows from the dealer. You get passive keyless entry on the front. And over here, power mirror controls, pick a side there. Then you can adjust power door lock controls, rear window lock, power windows with one-touch automatic up and down for the front. Decent sized pocket here for this car. Bottle holder here. Love that. We're gonna pop the trunk and then pull up here, pop the hood, and then we get a 6-way manual driver seat. But I have that seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. So let's go ahead and check out this room back here. So stunning legroom back here. A lot of that has to do with just how these front seats are. They're not overly thick, I would say. Like usually I can't fit my hand around the bolsters here, but they did a really good job with that. And then it's super adjustable up front as well with the 6-way manual, and you just kind of have that lean back feel there. But that still feels comfortable because of the visibility of this car. So I'm pretty impressed. I feel like I'm in a Mercedes back here, like an S-Class. But cup holders here. And then we do have the grab handle here with the hook on the left side. You can hold 1 or 2 hangers there. And let's make our way to the trunk space. Fuel filler there. And then coming around here, tons of cargo space as well. And I like how they integrated the hooks on the side there if you want to hang a bag or something like that and you don't want it just sitting on the floor. Then we have a jack here. And the spares underneath there. See if I can get this back in here. And then the back end here, also get LED tail lights, and I just love this styling, and I love that they didn't skip on the lower trim levels. And then look at that, a dual exhaust as well. So I'm sure we'll see some people put some crazy mods on here. And then I forgot to do this, but now I can show you how we can open it from the back as well. I'm going to show you how the rear seat folds down. And there it is, folded flat. When that seat's up far enough, and it's just up far enough I can't get the headrest back over, well, there it is. That's what helps with cloth. And then going over to this front passenger side, this is just going to be 4-way manual. And then glove compartment here. Decent size for the segment. Glove or owner's manuals are in there, excuse me. And then let's take a look at this window sticker. Huge shout out to Darrel Waltrip Honda for allowing me to review this car today. And stickers right at $28,845. Then this one does have a few added options. I'll show you that addendum when I get back to that side. But first, let's go ahead and take a look under the hood. There's that 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Again, 192 horsepower. Which is just about enough for your average commuter car. But over here, this has several options: low jack, tinted windows, mud guards, all-weather mats. All-weather mats are a must for me. So right at $32,035 with all these additional options. Love that tint as well. Let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat. So we get that hard plastic vinyl wrap steering wheel here. Still a nice look though. And over here to the radio, I've praised this in other reviews I've done in the past on Honda's new 23s, like the Civic has this. Just simple to use radio. You have 2 bandwidths, you go between all of that. And then of course you can hold this and it'll toggle your favorites. Media here, you can use USB, Bluetooth, and then in that it'll ask you want to connect, or you can just hit this here, depending on where you are. And then the menu button for all of your typical settings, but you can even go into your Bluetooth settings and go to your connections if you want to do that. Everything just makes sense. It's easy to do. You're not going to get lost in the radio. And then turn your audio off by holding that. And you can go through. This is either like a dial, or if you're in the radio, you can use it to tune. And then you can use this to seek. So like I said, everything makes sense. Easy to use. Backup camera. Love that we still get the guidelines. That's the wide angle there. This is the normal angle, and then here we have our kind of tow hitch angle there. If you're getting close to something, backing into a parking garage, you don't want to hit it, you can do that. Down here, hazards. And I've said this before, I love how they integrated the vents into this trim piece here. It looks so sleek. And then another big plus, we get standard single zone automatic climate control, so I can set my auto mode there, turn it off by messing with the fan speed, and then we can decide what direction we want the airflow to come from here. And then AC controls, defrosters. Again, this is how you can do fan speed, and you can turn the whole system off, touch of a button. Interesting here, 2 USB-C charge ports, and one of them is for the Apple CarPlay Android Auto, which is I haven't seen that here recently, especially in a base model vehicle. But the other port is just for charging. Tons of space here in this middle part. And then to the shifter, pull the lever, reverse, neutral drive, sport mode, low gear. And then you have a push button for your econ mode. You can toggle your auto stop on and off. Electronic parking brake, pull up to engage, hit the brake, press down to disengage, automatic brake hold. And then center console cubby space, decent size for the car, and then a 12 volt down in there. And there's a view of the back seat from up here. Sunglasses holder. I do like that we get the premium LED dome lights up here. SOS button, you set the lights to door, off or on. And then over here the steering wheel, go through your track list, radio station presets, volume knob here, and then we can use this to go through our settings on the left side of the digital gauge cluster. So we can pick that, and then voice recognition here, right side of the steering wheel, adaptive cruise, lane keep assist system, gap adjust for the adaptive cruise, set all of that, cancel button, and then we can use this to go through the right side gauge cluster. So this will have all of your typical gauge cluster settings. So things like that. And then headlamp controls here, toggle your auto mode by doing that, and then you can turn them on. High beams are there, flash them, and then one time intermittent low high for the windshield wipers, and then you can adjust your intermittent here, pull up here for front wiper fluid. And then push button start. Love that button, by the way. Fantastic look, looks like a spaceship. And then here we have our key fob with remote start. So also nice to have on the base model. But now it's time to go ahead and take this Accord LX out on the road for a quick test drive. So behind the wheel of this Accord drives pretty similarly. I drove an EX a while ago, and I wanted to make the comparison between the EX and the LX to see if it was actually worth paying a little bit more money for the EX. In my opinion, it is. You just have a few more features now. The radio is going to be the same. I can't remember about the steering wheel, but having that power seat makes a big difference for me. And that, among other things, it really just depends on if you want to have a few features or the bare minimum in terms of features that are available for vehicles these days. So for me, if money was a big thing, I would take the LX just because I feel like you're not going to miss a lot from the EX unless you're used to having a power seat or something like that. But for me, no big deal. But this is a pretty good buy for the money. because you do get your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You do have the ability to have an XM subscription. You get LED headlamps, LED taillights. And then Honda's standard safety system is just a really good system. The adaptive cruise, and then the lane centering. Now I can't remember if the EX I drove had blind spot monitors, but I do not see blind spot monitors in this LX. But in terms of driving dynamics, I do like how the new Accords drive. They drive pretty similarly to the outgoing model, because the 23 was mostly just, you know, body work and having new lights and all of that, new front fascias, which I think they did an incredible job. But in terms of how this drives, the Accord is known to be pretty fun to drive. People are missing the 2-liter turbo, so I haven't driven one of those yet. I'm gonna drive a hybrid here shortly, and I'll post that review and compare that to how just the turbo drives, but I've heard the hybrid is pretty nice. But I'll definitely compare that in terms of acceleration. But I like the 1.5, and I've liked the 1.5 for years, the turbocharged engine that comes in this Accord. So I've had the vehicle in sport mode, and quite peppy just overall. Now usually I put it into sport mode before I get on the interstate, but I'm gonna put it into the normal drive mode and see if there's a big difference, a noticeable difference. And then I'm gonna test out the econ mode while we're on the interstate. But I also like the lane centering system here, even though this is meant to be used on the highway. Every so often it'll pick up, and when it does, you can use it there. The only issue I have with it, and it's not supposed to be used as like an autopilot system anyway, but it doesn't tell you when it loses the lines, so it'll just randomly stop lane tracing, which is a bit annoying, but not the end of the world. But I'm gonna put it into the normal drive mode now. So still quite peppy in drive mode. Now it's no speed demon, but it definitely gets the job done. But let's put the econ mode on now. Lane centering and all that is on. And let's see if I can find the fuel economy. So right at 65 here, it's kind of hard to actually track because this vehicle in front of me can't keep a speed. But I'm gonna set it to 60, let's put it to 70. So it's showing you that bar there as we accelerate. So again, not the best way to track, but you're supposed to get, I think, 37, 38 miles per gallon highway with these. So I would expect to get that, maybe even a little better, especially with the CVTs. In these vehicles, they are meant to be extremely efficient. And I like the brake pedal here. It's a bit touchy, but you don't have to put your foot to the floor to come to a complete stop. And it's still comfortable, it's not jerking you. But for the money, this versus the Camry is really gonna be the big competition, as it's been for years. The Ultima's in there too. The Malibu's kind of taking itself out of the ranking, same thing with the Fusion. You do have the K5 still, but for me, this is what I deem to be the better option, unless you start to go into maybe a TRD. But I've always liked the Accord hybrids better than the Camry hybrids. Don't know if they're as efficient, but for what you get for them, I feel like the looks are better and they've been better, and you just get a few more tech features that you don't get on the Camry. But all in all, this LX compared to the LE Camry, I would go with this personally. But to each his own, it's really just the design of the vehicle at that point. Pretty much similar in everything else, except this one has a turbocharged 4 as opposed to that naturally aspirated one that the Camry has. But with that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of the 2023 Honda Accord in the LX trim level.